Yo, what is going on, everyone in the crypto space? And I know I said I wouldn't post a video on Sunday, but if I find a piece of information that is very fascinating and interesting, I don't make a video about it within the next few hours, I get this like almost guilty feeling. So I gotta get this out of the way and I gotta show it to you guys because it's literally amazing. So as you can tell by the title, Satoshi Nakamoto literally calls Ripple decentralized. He literally, in his own email with Mike Earn, calls Ripple decentralized back in 2009 when they're kind of first getting started, when they were OpenCoin, or like right when they kind of transitioned from OpenCoin to Ripple. Now, before I get into this, on a completely unrelated note, as you do know, the Swell event is only like 8 days away, and the list is frequently getting updated. And I just want you guys to take note of something. Has nothing to do with today's topic, but Ross Leclo, the Deputy General Counsel of the IMF, will be a part of Swell. So, yeah, that's pretty big. So anyways, this morning I was kind of doing some digging, just scrolling around on the forums, and I stumbled upon Reddit, someone saying Satoshi Nakamoto actually made a statement on Ripple calling it decentralized, and I went, is this actually real? So I do some further digging, and I come across this thread on the XRP chat, and it's an actual, so yeah, on the XRP chat, he does make a quote, but it's like, you know what, that's just someone copy and pasting. I actually want to see where this actually came from. And on Pastebin, a document actually got released recently on the actual Bitcoin Talk forum, which is like strictly Bitcoin, and the Satoshi emails actually did get released. Now on Pastebin here, it's Mike Earn. I had a picture of him, and I don't have it right now. You may have heard of him before. But he asked Satoshi all these questions like, hey, you know, I kind of read the Bitcoin, I'm interested. And one interesting thing he does say is I also want, and get this is back in 2009. He says, I also wonder if the assumption of one core equals one vote is sound. If the majority of nodes are on standard computers, it seems likely that an attacker could use FPGA or a custom ASIC to get significantly better performance. Now, guess what's happening today? Majority of Bitcoin miners aren't like basic PCs that me and you own. That's kind of what Bitcoin was meant to be. It was meant to be ran on kind of your everyday PC. But now what's happening is these miners in China, they now have just rooms and rooms filled with ASICs and GPU miners, and they get all this control. So even though it was meant to be kind of one core, one vote, now it's really whoever has the most hash power has the most control over the network, hence why Bitcoin is centralized and 51% of it is controlled by China. And by the way, guys, I was talking to S Linux user on Discord, and he's actually telling me that like no country really wants to work with the technology that China invented, because when government officials go into China for meetings for global economy reasons or regulatory meetings or whatever, they get sent with technological devices. Like if they get sent with a phone or a laptop, they get sent with that phone or laptop into China, and then right when they come back, it is immediately destroyed. That's how much the world does not just trust China at all. And the fact that Bitcoin has 51% of its control by China, I don't think massive banks of this world or institutions are going to want to utilize it for actual transactions in the long run. So it's funny to see in 2009, he's kind of asking like, yeah, it kind of seems like they could use ASICs to get better performance. That's what's happening today. The market is flooded with ASICs, and that's really all mining is. If you try to mine on your computer right now, like whatever you're watching on, if you're watching on a computer, if you try to mine on it right now, you're literally going to make like 1 cent a week. Like you're going to get nothing because the hash rate is just flooded with all these ASICs. So it's just funny to see in 2009 how he calls it. He literally calls it. So again, the last part of this email from Mike Earn, he says, so many questions, but it's rare that I encounter truly revolutionary ideas. The last time I was this excited about a new monetary scheme was when I discovered Ripple. If you have any thoughts on Ripple, I'd also love to hear them. And then it's Satoshi Nakamoto kind of responding to it. And what he does say is that it never really hits a scale ceiling, which kind of did happen. I mean, it's not really a ceiling necessarily, but the Bitcoin network got to a point where transactions were taking over a day, and transactions would cost upwards of $40. So pretty big issue right there that I don't think Satoshi's seen coming. Honestly, I don't think Satoshi ever expected it to get even this big. But the main part here from Satoshi Nakamoto, this is what he says. He says, Ripple is interesting, and that it's the only other system that does something with trust besides concentrate it into a central server. Let me read that to you again. He calls it decentralized. Ripple is interesting, and that it's the only other system that does something with trust besides concentrate it into a central server. He's acknowledging the fact that Ripple is not ran on a central server. It is not centralized. It is decentralized with nodes all around the world. So again, to hear from the alias Satoshi Nakamoto, who created Bitcoin, which is the largest cryptocurrency today, he actually calls Ripple decentralized. And to hear a lot of the Bitcoin community have the false information that it's centralized, I mean, you got the guy who created the currency you're so crazy about actually calling it decentralized. So, I mean, granted, it was back in 2009, but still, he does say it's not concentrated into a central server. That's just not how it works. So, I mean, it's just very fascinating to see this morning that, yeah, the guy who created Bitcoin in 2009, he's calling Ripple decentralized, even though the biggest misconception about it today is that it is centralized, although it is not, when in reality, Bitcoin is the one that has the 51% of the hash power controlled by China. It's absolutely ridiculous. So again, guys, I kind of want to elaborate on the future of Bitcoin. Now, if you're investing in Bitcoin, I'm not hating on you or anything, but I'm just going to give you guys my reasons. It's like, you know what? I mean, in the end, guys, I don't see Bitcoin lasting much longer. Bitcoin was honestly, it was a revolutionary technology for its time. It put cryptocurrency on the map. It brought blockchain to the general public. That's what we have to thank Bitcoin for. Bitcoin really did, no doubt, put us on the map. But right now, the technology is just not keeping up with today's standards. If you guys remember last bull run, this keyboard I have right here, I bought on Amazon with Bitcoin through BitPay. I remember this. I had $120 in Bitcoin. I was going to get the Razer, like the Razer Black Widow Chroma. I was going to have like all the different lights and everything. But it costed me $40 for a transaction fee, so I had to buy the original refurbished edition. Literally, Bitcoin was at such a point of lack of scalability that miners were charging $40 for one transaction to go through. At that point, my bank can literally provide a cheaper transaction than Bitcoin. That's a problem I very much see. And by the way, guys, I mean, I don't see, again, another big problem. I mean, the Bitcoin just had a bug that was bad that the devs were keeping it a secret. And essentially, the bug allowed, if somebody wanted to and they had enough control of the network, they could just create Bitcoin out of thin air and supersede the 21 million hard cap of the Bitcoin creation. There's like a limit, 21 million Bitcoin, and that's it. And this bug, I'm reading on CoinDesk, which is like very pro Bitcoin. They're coming out and they're just flat out admitting, like, yeah, this bug pretty much could have caused a ton of Bitcoin to be created. Somebody could have came on and created 50 million Bitcoin, no problem. Would have inflated the market. Would have caused absolute disruption. So it's not great to see a blockchain that is supposed to be like at such a mass use have such a critical issue. And again, guys, same thing with the Lightning Network. I honestly, for the sake of Bitcoin, I hope the Lightning Network goes through. I hope they can get the Lightning Network running and it can cause Bitcoin to have transactions at a couple pennies, clear them like under a minute, and it's pretty scalable. But right now, the Lightning Network, as of a couple months ago from the Next Web, they're saying that Lightning Network transactions has a 1% success rate with transactions larger than $200. But I was reading from multiple sources that, you know what, the Lightning Network isn't really scheduled to go live until like 2020, 2021, so it's still like a long work in progress. But again, guys, just to prove my point, along with Satoshi calling Ripple decentralized, that it's not concentrated to a central server, it's like Bitcoin right now, guys, the state of Bitcoin, in terms of the technology, I don't see it as great. But again, I don't think Bitcoin can last much longer. I would honestly give Bitcoin like maybe 3 to 5 more years, and I could maybe see it potentially kind of not die off, but be a lot less significant and actually not be the #1 currency. Because, guys, the technology right now has so many flaws. They're trying to build off of an old technology, and it's just the complete problem right now. It's like we didn't get the iPhone by building off the Nokia, and you don't get electricity by improving the candle. It's that kind of same idea. So Bitcoin, it put us on the map. It was revolutionary for its time, and it brought blockchain to the world. But again, the technology is just having so many issues now. It's that it's not functional like a real currency anymore. So that's what I kind of want to tell you guys today. My honest thoughts on Bitcoin. If Bitcoin got all its problems solved, I would be investing in. If the transactions costed pennies, if transactions were settling under a minute, and it was scalable, I would honestly, God, I would be investing in Bitcoin right now. But that's just not happening. So again, guys, pretty big information to hear that Satoshi Nakamoto literally says Ripple is interesting in that it's the only other system that does something with trust besides concentrate it into a central server, literally calling Ripple decentralized. From the man himself. So thank you guys for watching this video. Make sure to drop a like, subscribe, check links in the description if you don't want to support the channel. Maybe share this on Twitter if you want, or on Facebook. Make sure to turn on post notifications so you never miss a video or a stream. You can check links in the description. Get yourself Ledger Nano S. Keep that cryptocurrency safe. So again, guys, Satoshi Nakamoto, the man himself, calls Ripple decentralized. Pretty interesting news. And again, Deputy General Counsel from the IMF will be attending Swell, which is only in 8 days. Guys, we're living in a fascinating time. We're going to have a digital asset used in banking next month. History will be written. Thank you guys for watching this video. I'll see you guys in the next one.